All right, guys, check it out. I am dragging anaerobics into the 20th century with this 1990s technology. I finally got a whiteboard. You might not even be able to see it because the whiteboard that I got is supposed to be up on a desk and I don't have a table high enough to put it up on. So it might be a little bit low. You might not be able to see it, but believe me, if I tell you something's on the whiteboard, just fucking believe me, okay? Great. I want to talk about, first of all, I just want to wish everybody a very happy National Hot Dog Day. I was unaware of the fact that today is National Hot Dog Day. Walking out of the gym, and I saw whatever Good Morning America, whatever the kids call it these days, on one of the TVs, and they're talking about a hot dog eating contest in New York City and to celebrate National Hot Dog Day. So to pass on my happiness, my joy, my enjoyment of National Hot Dog Day to you guys, I am going to offer a discount on low carb cutting and bulking, which includes both the pure protein diet and my low carb lean bulky diets, as well as two other diets, okay? But those are the two really big diets. They're the complete diets, both of them, everything to get lean, everything to get big in one package. And like I said, just for today, it is going to be steeply discounted. So if you've been thinking about getting the pure protein diet or my low carb lean bulking diet, take advantage of the National Hot Dog Day sale. Now, speaking of National Hot Dog Day, hot dogs are not necessarily bad on a diet, okay? When I put out these diets, I talk about what, your caloric intake should be, how to figure out your calories, your particular macros, your ratios, the amount of each, trace minerals that you need to take in, fiber, how to adjust, over time, the amount of calories and different macros you're taking in. And, you basically have the full flexibility to decide what you actually want to eat, okay? So I do certainly give examples of what I eat, and I do that a lot on YouTube here. I also do that a lot on Instagram. So if you follow me, especially my stories on Instagram, you'll see a lot of what I'm currently eating or drinking or whatever. So suggest you follow me on Instagram at Anaerobics. So here is an example, of the basis of my personal diet. These are foods that I eat a lot when I'm on, for instance, the pure protein diet, Now, I call it the pure protein diet. It is not PSMF, protein sparing modified fasting, which is basically a starvation diet with some protein to keep you from literally dying, This is a diet that you can still perform on while still losing weight very quickly, You could stay on it longer because there's more fat, there's more fiber, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it is not a very long-term sustainable diet. You have to transition out, but you can stay on the pure protein diet longer and feel better and perform better in the gym and in your daily life than on a real starvation diet, So it's like the best of both worlds. It's short-term, sustainable, but it's also short-term, really quick results. So these are some of the basics. It is not, as I said, pure protein. There is some fat. And the fat is controlled over the entire day, Because your body keeps fat. You hold fat. If you eat a big fatty meal and then a couple of lean meat meals, it's the same as if you ate less fat per meal, but the same total protein, the same total fat spread over the meals, So what I like to do is I have my go-to lean protein meal, which is 200 grams of chicken measured raw, 46 grams of protein, no carbs, 2 grams of fat, 220 calories. So it's 91% protein, and the rest of it is the little bit of fat, So that is like the staple of my diet. That gets me in 46 grams of protein. I try to get 50 grams of protein per meal, give or take. So that's right about perfect. Then what I do is I will add in fat in the meals where I want more fat. So one way I do it is adding in an ounce, 28 grams of almonds. It brings the calories from 220 up to 381, It brings the fat from 2 to 15 grams, The protein comes from the almonds, so it's not the best protein in the world, but 46 up to 51, and it brings the carbs from 0 to 6, So it's still relatively low carbs if you only have a couple of these meals a day, But like I said, it's protein and fat and more calories. And then I have, as I'm transitioning out, or as I may, for instance, be on a low-carb bulking diet, okay? Low-carb lean bulking diet, I might have a meal like this. 8 ounces of 80% lean ground chuck mixed with 2 whole eggs. So basically, I'll just fry the ground chuck in a pan. Don't add any fat because it's fatty enough. And then I'll just, when it starts to get done, then I'll just throw in a couple of eggs, okay? This is 51 grams of protein, no carbs, 55 grams of fat. Okay, so it's 71% fat and it's 716 calories. So that's how I add in fat when I transition out of the pure protein diet, when I'm a low carb, lean bulking diet, etc. Okay, it's once again, 51 grams of protein, so it's right around the same as always, 50 grams of protein, but the fat goes from 2 grams for a chicken breast or 15 grams for chicken and almonds up to 55 grams. So those are like 3 different meals. Now, how do I go ahead and change it? Okay, well, like I said, my girlfriend's trying to get me more adventurous with food. I'm a big fan of just eat the goddamn food, okay? Just eat the chicken breast, just eat the tuna out of the can, okay? Like I said, 2 cans of tuna is also about 50 grams of protein, very little fat, very, very little carb, okay? Very low calories, so I could go ahead and just mix mustard in or hot sauce or whatever with a couple cans of tuna, okay, and I'll have like the same thing as a chicken breast. I could add in mayonnaise, okay. There are healthy mayonnaises made with avocado, olive oil, etc. Take a healthy mayonnaise and you could add in, depending upon how much mayonnaise you add in, you could have the equivalent of a chicken and almonds meal, okay. I mean, 2 cans of protein, 2 cans of tuna is going to be like 50 grams of protein. So add in some mayonnaise until you get up to the 15 grams of fat or the 55 grams of fat. Okay, so like I said, you could always change around the diet. Okay, what I noticed though is a lot of people are experimenting with deli meats. A lot of people are experimenting with other meats. A lot of people are experimenting with sausages. So as would be fitting, it's crazy that I was doing this video today and I found out today's National Hot Dog Day. I just got some turkey bratwurst, okay? So the turkey bratwurst from Jenny O puzzles me. It puzzles me. And the reason why it puzzles me is because on the label, it says it has 18 grams of fat, 2 grams of carbs, and 18 grams of protein, 2 grams of carbs, and 6 grams of fat for a total of 160 calories. But if you add that up, it comes to like 130. It doesn't come up to 160 calories. So I put it into MyFitnessPal, and MyFitnessPal came up with different macros. Okay, it was a little bit more protein and a little bit more fat. But the fact remains that even with the higher macros, okay, from MyFitnessPal, I got this, it's $5.99. Okay, I bought this at Publix, $5.99 for 5 bratwurst, turkey bratwurst, okay? If I take 2.5, okay, bratwurst, which means half of this, which means $3 worth of bratwurst, I could have a pretty decent meal, okay? If I have 2.5 of that, it will be like 45 grams of protein, okay, 5 grams of carbs, 15 grams of fat, okay? According to MyFitnessPal, it may be a little bit higher, okay? In which case it would be closer to 50 grams of protein instead of 45 and closer to 20 grams of fat. But it's still, like I said, 45 grams of protein or 50 is close to chicken and almonds, okay? 45 or 50 grams of protein, 5 grams of carbs as opposed to 6. So there's actually fewer carbs in the turkey bratwurst, okay? And 15 to 20 grams of fat. So it's 15 grams of fat for the chicken and almonds. It would be 15 to 20 for 2.5 bratwurst, but you're eating bratwurst, okay? It's a little bit different. Like, just to go ahead and have something different, okay? So as you can see, like I said, 2.5 of these is the same thing as an ounce of almonds and was almost a half a pound of chicken, okay? So you can mix it up like that. Speaking of other diets, speaking of high-fat meals, speaking of lean bulking, okay? Hebrew National, 97% fat-free beef franks, okay? Eight of them, okay, would be 48 grams of protein, 16 grams of carbs, 8 grams of fat. That's a lot of carbs. I admit that's a lot of carbs, okay? Now, first of all, over a day, if you're taking in like, 0 carbs here, 0 carbs here, over a day, it's not really all that bad if you make sure you don't eat this in every meal, okay? But, like I said, that's really not all that bad either. 48 grams of protein, 16 grams of carbs, 8 grams of fat, 360 calories for 8 of them. Now, how can you reduce that? First of all, you could make sure that you eat very low carb the rest of the day, like extremely low carb, like 0 and 0, okay? In which case, it wouldn't actually be all that bad, okay? Another way that you can do it that I was just kind of playing around with is, let's say you take 4 of them, okay? I could eat 8 hot dogs. A lot of people are probably thinking, how am I going to eat 8 hot dogs, okay? Let's say you only take in 4 of the Hebrew National 97% fat-free hot dogs. And if you've watched me on Instagram, watch my stories, you would see that I do something where I mix high protein, low carb, low fat yogurt with a little bit of whey protein, mix it up, and I got a little protein meal, okay? It is low carb, it is low fat, it is high protein, it tastes like whatever protein powder you put in it. And this is what I do, like if I'm gonna hang out with my girlfriend, watch like one episode of the original Gilligan's Island, from back in the day, and just hang out, or whatever. Because as you guys know, maybe, my girlfriend and I like to watch old series at night. That's like our thing. We won't watch hours and hours of TV and binge watch the newest show. We'll watch like, we just got done a while ago watching the original 1960s Star Trek, watching an episode or 2 every night. We just watched all 3 seasons in a row. It's just our little time talking about back in the day when we saw that for the first time. So now we're watching Gilligan's Island. But anyway, so I'll have my little protein pudding. Let's say I were to take half of that protein pudding, okay, and half of the hot dogs. So instead of taking 8 hot dogs, I would take in 4 hot dogs, okay? Which means you get 4 hot dogs and you get a little dessert as well, okay? It would be 44 grams of protein, 10 grams of carbs, 6 grams of fat, okay? So once again, it's a little bit higher in carbs than I would like, okay? This is chicken and almonds is just 6 grams of carbs. This is 10 grams of carbs. But like I said, it's lower than it was before when I was just eating a whole bunch of hot dogs, okay? And once again, this is over the entire day, okay? 10 grams of carbs is not going to kill you unless you eat 10 grams of carbs with every single meal. Now it is time for me to bust out my absolute secret weapon. So I hope you guys are prepared for this, okay? And what it is, believe it or not, it is Alfredo pasta sauce. As you can see, this is nothing special. Okay, it's made with real cheese, whatever, but Great Value is basically Walmart's own line of food. It is cheap. It's probably the cheapest one in the section, okay? And believe it or not, this does not have very bad macros, okay? So one serving of this, a quarter cup, 62 grams, is 50 calories, 3.5 grams of fat, 4 grams of carbs, and a gram of protein. So let's say I were to go ahead and take a 200-gram chicken breast, okay, and then I were to put 1 serving of that Alfredo sauce on top, okay, what you would end up with is 47 grams of protein, 4 grams of carbs, 4.5 grams of fat, 265 calories. So this is actually a leaner meal in terms of the amount of fat and carbs you're getting in, a leaner meal than chicken and almonds. Okay, 47 grams of protein instead of 51, 4 grams of carbs instead of 6 grams, and 4.5 grams of fat instead of 15 grams of fat. So honestly, what you could do is you could put this into almost every meal you have, okay, instead of switching around between chicken and almonds, which is what I usually do. I'll have like just chicken, and then I'll have chicken and almonds, okay? On the other hand, if you were to go ahead and use this, you would actually probably take in fewer calories, less fat, less carbs, or fewer carbs if you were to basically just put Alfredo sauce on a lot of your chicken breast meals, okay? So each one, as I said, you don't have to go, you don't have to go necessarily high fat and then lean, lean, lean. You could also go lower fat, as long as over the entire day, the calories, the macros, the fat, the carbs, the protein, all the amounts, all the ratios stay the same, okay? So like I said, these are just different ways you could play around. Other than that, what you can do is you can go ahead and add in mustard. Mustard in general, unless it's added sugar, okay, has like negligible calories, negligible carbs, okay, unless there's added sugar. So be careful with it. But like I said, I mean, 2 cans of tuna with some mustard in is a really quick meal, really cheap meal, really great meal. Okay, you know, if you want to make some kind of a really lean meat, check out maybe turkey burgers, etc. I'm going to do a meatloaf experiment with ground turkey. My girlfriend has volunteered to help me with this so I don't hurt myself trying to cook by myself in the kitchen. You know, you could go ahead and like I said, we put some salsa on it. Salsa, as long as there's no added sugar, as long as you don't go crazy. The salsa that I have, once again, I bought the cheapest brand from Walmart. It has, I believe, 10 calories, okay? You know, it's very low fat, very low carb. Obviously, it's like 0 fat, 0 protein, it's just some carbs in it, okay? So like I said, there are certainly ways to make this more interesting. Now, the important thing is that you're a bad motherfucker and that you are making your life more fun. You're not looking for ways to avoid work, okay? So the fact of the matter is you need to be prepared going on a diet like this to take your fucking Tupperware with your chicken and almonds everywhere, okay, and fucking eat, okay, and not have fun, okay? And then when you realize something like I realized, that I could put some, you know, Alfredo sauce on top of my chicken and I'll actually be doing better, you know, in terms of macros than if I had chicken and almonds, okay, then that's just like a little treat, okay? Because, for instance, one thing that everybody knows about me is I really don't like eating breakfast, but I'm always hungry. I work out in the morning, and I love going to the gym first thing in the morning, and I love eating before going to the gym. I hate fasted training. So I usually enjoy having a shake before I go to the gym, which is great when I'm on a low-carb bulking diet and I'm drinking, you know, eggs and I'm drinking, you know, heavy cream and stuff, and it's a great, creamy, tasty, awesome shake. I love it. But what happens when you're on the pure protein diet and the only shakes you could take in are like really lean, they don't satisfy, they don't fill you up, okay, because you're basically taking this in. Well, I'll put maybe my high-fat meal in the morning. High-fat meal that I was taking in was I would cook 4 whole eggs, 8 fluid ounces of egg whites. I would just scramble it together, cook it the night before. In the morning, I would throw it in the microwave, put some hot sauce on it, and eat it. That was actually a pretty good meal. It was a high-fat meal, probably the highest fat meal for the day, and then the rest of the day was pretty lean, but at least I got a high-fat meal that tasted good, that was easy to eat, that was easy to cook, okay, early in the morning. Okay, another thing that I could do now is I could take chicken breast and put some Alfredo sauce on it so it tastes a little bit better. It's not like waking up in the morning and first thing you just get hammered with a dry chicken breast, okay? Dry chicken breasts are great, but not first thing in the morning. It kind of kills me. It really tests my, my dedication, okay? And of course, I just want to shout out to all my German viewers, okay, all my Saarländer. Maggi. Maggi is in America. You get these little bottles at specialty stores like Publix, and you get the big bottles if you go to an Asian market. I just got the tip recently. Go to an Asian market in America, you'll find a big bottle of Maggi. You just need to be careful because they import a lot of Chinese Maggi. And I actually learned it from a couple Asian people. They're like, we don't like the Chinese Maggi, we like the German Maggi. I'm like, yeah, there you go. They sell it like it's soy sauce. I always said that Maggi's basically soy sauce. But anyway, that's the point. Like I said, I mean, chicken breast, okay, some Alfredo sauce, some Maggi on top of it. I use potassium, no salt, as a, not as a salt substitute, but as a source of potassium. I use sea salt, okay, as a source of sodium, obviously. And like I said, I mean, you think you're in the Olive Garden, except, you know, the food doesn't have hairs in it and it's not all fucking shitty, okay, and overpriced. So, like I said, these are just some ideas of things that you can do. I want to once again wish everybody a very, very happy National Hot Dog Day. Click on the link below. Go check out low carb cutting and bulking. If you're interested in my lean bulking diet or my pure protein diet, they are all included in low carb cutting and bulking. And like I said, there's going to be a pretty decent discount today. So go ahead and check it out. And if you're on the edge and if you're thinking about it, but you haven't quite pulled the trigger yet, go ahead and just take advantage of the National Hot Dog Day sale. Other than that, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Follow me at Anaerobics on Instagram, and I will see you guys in the next video.